Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friday live stream. We got a quick update on the new IRS tax rules that go into effect January 1st, 2025, and what you need to do before December 31st, 2024. So before we talk about that, I just want to say thanks to everybody for watching the hack updates and pitching in what they can potentially do to solve this issue where a community member lost 7 figures in a central exchange hack, as well as something that drained his Ledger cold storage device. Very strange story, and we're trying to get answers. FBI is involved. We've got local police involved as well, waiting for reports. So we'll go from there. But I will say, though, it is very concerning, not just this predicament that came about. What is most concerning is the outpouring of emails, comments, texts, and just basic information, people telling me the exact same story over and over and over again. This one I just got today, and it's becoming more common. I didn't know this was this common out there. I thought that these different hacks would just be like little tiny things that people left on their exchange and that's it. It's not, and it's bigger. It's a bigger thing behind the wall, and we need to really focus on this moving forward. But this is I can't tell you his or her name. But this is what was sent to me today. Hey, Rob, been a long-time subscriber and saw your video today about your friend who was hacked and lost all his crypto assets. Unfortunately, the same thing happened to me last week. All of my assets, worth about $3 million, were stolen from my Coinbase wallet. This is my entire wealth, accumulated over 26 years of hard work. I reported to the local police, but they haven't responded. Do you have any suggestions or know of any companies that could help? I said, that's awful. Contact the same group that's helping my friend. This is over at Blockchain Unmasked. If you watch this video and the one that was just updated, which talks about wallets being frozen, you'll get all the links for that. But very concerning. And it's I must not be doing my job correctly, because I talk about the rules. I talk about the things about not leaving things on exchanges. We need to start talking about diversifying your portfolio as far as with cold storage devices, how to secure those mnemonic phrases, how to use passphrases, how to split things up, how to swap mnemonic phrases around, and everything in between. Because if it doesn't matter how much you make, it is how much you keep. And if you lose everything in a hack, what's the point? You just worked essentially 26 years for somebody else. So it's something we're going to have to really dive deep into, because I think this is going to be the most monstrous bull run we're ever going to see, and it's just around the corner. So that's what's happening. And just as a reminder, not everybody's a jerk out there. On December 19th, Foundry USA Pool mined block 875,475, which included a Bitcoin transaction with an accidental 8.18 Bitcoin fee. Oopsie. 91,127 times the necessary amount. After contacting the user, they have decided to refund the fee. I don't know how that's actually works, but I mean, great. Someone just got back essentially 8.18 Bitcoin as far as a fee. So that's what's going on in the cryptoverse. Essentially, we've got the market chopping sideways. I think Bitcoin's not. I'm not even for sure what the price is. I really don't care right now. I really care about what's going to happen in 2025. But having said that, taxes, everybody's least favorite non-sexy subject to talk about, and this is just a quick update. Now, we had the gentleman or people from Coin Ledger. We had one of the lawyers and CPAs on. I will link that in the description. But if you don't know, here in the United States, the IRS likes to make things difficult. And because of that, there's this new provision coming out that everybody has to do something as far as before January 1st. And what that something really comes down to is cost basis. And I just posted this on X not too long ago, about an hour ago or so. And I said, what's my cost basis under this new IRS rules? And I actually took a look. I pulled this from Coin Ledger. This is actually part of my very early days of investing into Bitcoin. And pretty good times. November 23rd, 2017, I paid $4,951 and I got 0.6 Bitcoin. Woo, good days, good days. November 30th, looks like I bought $2,000 worth of Ethereum, which was a whopping five Ethereum. Crazy. And then I just asked the question, okay, so take this, what's my cost basis? And the one to pretty much get it right was Get With It. He said, just make up a number, man. This is the problem. And this is what the IRS, it's not a problem for us, it's a problem for the IRS, and they're trying to close that loophole. So here's what it comes down to. I always thought, and I posted this as well yesterday, I always thought that Coinbase and Kraken, all the different centralized exchanges, they had to report the cost basis, which is what someone purchased their crypto for to the IRS. An example would be, of course, over here. If I purchased, what, I paid $4,456 and I got a quarter or 0.25 of Bitcoin. So essentially takes that by 4. That's essentially what I paid on December 8th, right? So whatever that cost basis would be, calculators knock me out in the comments section. So if we have that, that would be my cost basis. But apparently, the centralized exchanges never did that. I thought they did. Apparently, the centralized exchanges never reported the cost basis, and they will only have to start in 2025. So people could have made up any number for their cost basis. Isn't that crazy? And this is from the requirements. So pre-2025 reporting requirements for centralized exchanges, they had a Form 1099-K. Some of you may have gotten that for high volume transactions. Some crypto platforms issued a Form 1099-K to customers who met certain thresholds of more than $20,000 in gross payments and 200 transactions in a year. Limitations that were only reported gross payment amounts, not the cost basis. This form didn't accurately reflect income. No standardized cost basis reporting, unlike stockbrokers who must use a 1099-B. Crypto exchanges were not required to track or report the cost basis of digital assets sold. Taxpayers responsible for maintaining their own records of purchase price, acquisition date, sale date, and proceeds. And it was just pretty much voluntary. So again, what it really comes down to is cost basis. This is the whole thing. So again, cost basis is this. On January 1st, 19, this is an example. You bought one Bitcoin for $1,000. Obviously, it wasn't that. It would be nice if it was that price, but I don't think it was. Then on March 1st, 2019, you bought another one Bitcoin for $2,000. So your cost basis is $3,000. Now, if you sold it at the price of $10,000, your gain or loss is $7,000. Pretty simple, right? That's what the whole thing is about this. And this, of course, is taking a look at first in, first out, or FIFO, which is what I personally use. I think a lot of you are going to be using this. Now, there are different provisions and different alterations to this if you want to, as far as like reporting for your taxes. I'm going to get David and the crew from CoinLedger to come back on again before the 31st, but this is what we have. So again, you could have been lying the whole time, which I thought was interesting, that you could just have made up anything and then they didn't have to actually, report it. There's no standardized cost basis reporting. But then people say, well, how come people got busted like this guy? Some guy on Thursday, December 12, 2024, was just sentenced for filing tax returns that falsely reported his crypto gains. In Austin, Texas, a man was sentenced to 2 years in prison for filing a tax return that falsely underreported from selling 3.7 million in Bitcoin. Let me say that again, 3.7 million in Bitcoin. So I'm just going to say like this. I think some people were lying on their tax returns. Fine, whatever. Or maybe they were confused. Fine, whatever. But if you made 3.7 million, you're like, cost basis wasn't that much. That's going to happen, right? You're probably going to go to jail. They're probably going to audit you. That's pretty much what it is. So this is the whole thing of why today is the day, or this week is the week of when we have to actually figure out what the cost base is. So basically what the IRS is saying with this document is like, look, give me a number. Let's start fresh, right? So right now, what I'd like everybody to do for this cost basis, like this is the part that is kind of confusing me, because when I set all this stuff up, and this is just a dummy account, but it looked like this, right? I have all my exchanges right there. I don't know what the heck this is an example, but I got my exchanges. You got Kraken, Uphold, Crypto, Voyager, Celsius, Brave, all these different things. And they're all right there. And they already kind of put it in, and the cost basis is actually there if you just would bother to go in there and sync it up with your exchanges. And again, what I'm using is CoinLedger. You don't have to use CoinLedger, just what I've used for the last 3 years. It's worked out pretty well for me. So this is what it looks like now under the universal method, right? You got all the Coinbase transactions, all the, what is that, Gemini? Yeah, okay. Kraken, Uphold, and everything's right there. But this is what they want it to look like now. They want per wallet. So they want, if you got like a Poloniex wallet on Bitcoin, they want a Bitcoin Poloniex wallet, Bitcoin Coinbase wallet, Bitcoin Ledger wallet, ETH Ledger, ETH Coinbase, ETH Kraken, ETH Gemini, ETH Binance, ETH whatever, and then Tomato Coin, you know, GetBit or BitGet or whatever else it is. So it's all by wallets. That's really all it is. And all I want you to do is to tell them, like, look, are you going to do first in, first out? Or are you going to do some other wacky way? And if you do it, just tell us what that is, and just identify it by the 1st of January. Does that mean you have to like call the IRS? No, there's nothing to do with it. All you got to do is essentially link up with Coin Ledger or whatever. If you're using spreadsheets, great. If you're using another platform, fantastic. Just make sure everything's synced and you get it all together and everything's right there. So when you can say, okay, this is everything that I have in Coinbase and under these wallets. This is Kraken, this is Uphold, blah, 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 blah. And that's pretty much how they want you to do things now. So the question then was, and I begin this a lot. Well, I don't know what the heck it is because I had Voyager and Celsius. Yeah, me too. So this was the example that essentially ChatGPT spit out to me. I go, so how do you explain this? How do you do this? So it's like this. We're kind of getting a mulligan. This is what I feel like it is. It's like a mulligan to us, which is like, hey, like you don't know what it was. We don't know what it was either. So why don't you just tell us? So Voyager and Celsius are gone. And the example was this. Imagine your son collects Pokemon cards. And over the years, he's bought and sold a lot of them. Now he has just 3 cards left. The IRS, which is like the referee, wants him to figure out what he paid for those 3 cards. But he has no idea because he's your kid. He doesn't know. Just like Voyager and Celsius, we don't know how much did you pay for Storm X on, you know, March 17th, 2020. No, you have no idea. Like, and you don't even know if you bought it on that day because Voyager and Celsius doesn't exist. So the safe harbor rule is like the IRS saying, look, kid, it's okay if you don't have everything perfectly tracked. Just pick a fair way to split the cost of the cards or the cryptos. Write it down, stick to that method. If you do this, I won't audit you. That's essentially what this whole thing comes down to. So if you're looking how to set this up over in Coin Ledger, because I don't know the other stuff. I don't know if you have a spreadsheet and you're only using like one wallet with one exchange. You probably don't need this. But if you've done some wacky stuff like I have, go over to Coin Ledger, head to the tax settings, the very top right under your username. See where it says settings there? You're going to pick what you want to do. Lowest cost, highest wallet balance. That's the one that I'm going to do. You can opt out and still go for the universal method, but the IRS isn't about that. This is mostly for Americans. Or highest cost, highest wallet balance. That's not what I'm going to do. Now, we'll explain the two when we got the guys from Coin Ledger, but that is essentially what it's doing. And then to make it concrete to do these things, do this now. Do this before the 31st so you have everything in place and it's already set in stone. And that's pretty much what the IRS is telling you to do. So how do you do this? You go there and you link up your exchanges and your public wallets. And there's a link in the description where I tell you how to get to Coin Ledger, the website, and then how to use the program, because it's very simple. It's simple-ish. It's not like perfectly, I think anybody can do it. Let's just say that. So, but once you have this here, like mine, like I haven't synced it in over a year. So I need to sync this up and you click on sync transactions and that's it. Now, if you don't have access and you're like, I want to test it out first, just go there, the very top of Coin Ledger. You can just click on the portfolio tracker, which is 100% free. And that's essentially what it's going to be doing for your tax reporting. Essentially, if you have the portfolio there, you can put everything over. So that's the down and dirty, easy way to do it. Again, I'll have the guys over from Coin Ledger, and they'll go into the big, deep questions, and we can ask all the questions that you want to and go from there. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And lastly, before we get into a little Q&A, everything's pretty much sideways except for Virtual's protocol. And we haven't, I talk about this on X and I mentioned it sideways action in like in some of the different videos we've done, but Virtual's protocol is looking pretty good. Essentially what it is, it's not just like an AI play like GPUs and stuff like that. It's AI agents. And there's been AI, going to ChatGPT or Perplexity.ai and asking questions, which is a learning language model. What these are AI agents. Imagine if you could say to an agent like, hey, I want you to go to my X account and I want you to start to talk about my day-to-day happenings. And you can pull the information from, say, my calendar if you really wanted to, or you can pull it from my Instagram and talk about the exercise I'm doing. Or you can also, I want you to go to hotels.com, book me a hotel for someplace on the beach in Miami because I'm gonna be there the 26th, 27th. And it'll do it. That's what an AI agent is, as opposed to a learning language model like ChatGPT and Perplexity.ai. Sounds pretty crazy, right? Well, it's happening. And Virtual's protocol is kind of doing some of that right now. And one of the examples I had was this one, which was pretty funny, was Rekt Burgundy, it's actually a play off of Anchorman from Ron Burgundy. So I always find it funny that they actually did this. And what they're doing is I asked the guys over at CryptoDads, I go, what can this Rekt Burgundy do? Is it corresponding to messages on X and Discord, or does it go beyond that? They told me that, yeah, he reads with a focus on crypto news, comes up with headlines in Burgundy fashion, stay classy, and weaves into crypto and all that stuff. He has a central brain that communicates across all three platforms, X, Discord, and Telegram. So you might bring up something he learned on X in the Discord, and in Discord and Telegram, he's funnier than on X, but we're working on improving that. This could be because he also reads the chat messages there. And then I listened to a Twitter Spaces or an X Spaces where he actually spoke. And I asked the guys, I'm like, hey, is that like really him, or is that just like a voice actor? I think it was actually him, and they had him, and he sounded like kind of like Ron Burgundy, or how he would sound, but it's Rekt Burgundy and cryptocurrency. It's just crazy. So I know this is kind of getting outside the realm of what crypto does and what crypto is, but it sounds pretty interesting. So I linked that in the description, and then you can check it out. Also, this is on Virtual's protocol. You can see that here. I have no affiliation with these guys, but they are doing some kind of airdrop, and you don't even have to like give them anything. You just do a tweet and claim it here. Now, I would just warn everybody, because we were just talking about hacks not too long ago. When you're connecting a wallet to any of this stuff, when you connect a wallet, you have to essentially say to yourself, I'm kissing my hot wallet goodbye, because you don't know what's on the other end. You just don't. So if you want to give it a roll, go right ahead. But if you have your entire life savings into like your MetaMask, first of all, what are you doing? Second of all, don't do it. And third of all, listen to the first two things I said. So you can give that a roll. I'll probably do it just because why not? And I don't have too much in my MetaMask account, but that's it for today. Oh, lastly, when we get in the Q&A, I'm going to be talking to Kevin Maloney. He's the CEO of iTRUST in about an hour or so. So if you got questions for the guys over at iTRUST, especially Kevin, let me put that in the comment section. I'll ask them, but that is it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. We're going to talk about it is time sensitive. Now, let's do a little Q&A, and I'll answer all your questions the best of my abilities, and then we'll go from there. If you got to take off, take off. Enjoy the rest of the holidays. Now let's get into a little Q&A. Julius, Polkadot staking. I got to ask him about that. Julius, do me a favor. Put that into, actually, no, I'll remember that, because I'm going to talk, it's not just about Polkadot, it's about multiple staking into iTrust. Now, the IRS just passed they passed another rule. What they believe is that they believe that staking is taxable. So the question I'm going to have to ask him is, okay, well, can we put that into the IRA if it is taxable? And how does that work? Because on a Roth IRA, it's post-tax assessments. So how does that go? It'll be interesting. Okay. Meme says, I love what Rob just said. Rob, make that into a video short. First, what are you doing? Second, don't do it. Third, listen to the first two things I said. Yeah. You got to remind people, that's all. Because we're all imperfect, are we not? We all make mistakes, and we all get tired, and we all say and do things we shouldn't do. Then before you know it, you're like, man, I wish someone would remind me not to do that. Okay. Mickey says, so let me get this straight. Hunter Biden evades taxes, doesn't go to jail. Well, you know, there's worse things. What's the latest with Minutes Network? I just talked to Josh a couple of days ago. Things are just going along swimmingly. And we'll see. I think they're going to actually be a part of the airdrop for Tomato Coin. If you guys don't know what Tomato Coin, it's a joke. But we're going to do an airdrop for all the DNews stakeholders for our Cardano stake pool. And we're also going to have, looks like Cornucopias, Crow, and World Mobile Token. So that'd be fun. Good times, good times. Coffee, Blaps, and crypto. Is wash trading applicable to crypto assets yet? No, I think you can still do what's called, well, in traditional equities, you know, they call it wash trading, where essentially you sell something at the and then immediately buy it right back. I think in equities, correct me if I'm wrong here, I want to say it's a 30-day minimum, or maybe it's 14. I always forget that when you sell something, you have to wait a time frame before you buy it back. So here's an example. December 31st comes around, you're like, you know what? This sweat coin just didn't work out for me too well. And you just sell all of it, right? And you sell all of it and you take a major loss, which you will take a major loss, like myself. Anyhow. So then the next like day, you just buy it all back. Like, all right, baby, let's start from here. And you can do that, I mean, in crypto, but you can't do that in equities. So as far as I know, it's not applicable. Yeah, I know. So let me tell you this. Let me tell you one more thing. There's nothing in there.
The oranges.
Right there. I'm having a debate with my wife. Hey,
Where are the oranges?
they're in that cupboard right there, above the fridge. Which I don't know how you get a fridge in a pool room, unless it's a green screen. Anyhow, a little peek behind the curtain there. Let's see. Wallet card is a .app, not .com. Thank you, Echo. Black Diamond says, Rob, can you maybe ask Tangent to add a cost basis tracker and app? Yes. Let's do that right now. Let's text Nikita. Hey, Nikita, can we get a cost basis tracking within the app? Maybe in Q1 of 2025, question mark? Close enough. I'll let you know what he says. So it hasn't staking always been tax traders income. You know what? That's what I said, but someone said, no, it wasn't like that. And I'm like, I think it was like that. I think it was, I told my CPA to treat it as taxable income because I didn't want to deal with the hassles of the IRS and an audit. So I said, just deal with it as like taxable income. And that was it. So I've always had it like that. So I don't know. Sina, did you hear about the Tether FUD? I did not. I saw Nick from Coin Bureau post something about it. And I just assumed it was one more Tether FUD that I've been hearing for the last 4 years. So I don't know what it is, but I think probably in a week or so, hopefully, it'll turn out to be good news. Or maybe everything will collapse. One of those two things will happen. Simple man, you get to pay tax even when you sell them. You know, so we have a couple Airbnbs, and last night we had to go. The beauty of property ownership, we had to go fix a water tank. It wasn't working properly, and we're talking to one of the guys that was staying there in the house, and he was talking about taxes in Texas, and he said, it's pretty sad because they pay, well, in Dallas it's like 2.5 or 2.7% depending on where you actually live, of the total cost of your house for taxes. And he said, it's funny. He goes, we get taxed on everything we make. We get taxed on the food we eat. We get taxed on the gas we put in our car. We get taxed on the car that we drive. We get taxed on the car that we drive to continue to drive that car. And we get taxed on the place that we actually live. And it's like, And he says, you know, you absolutely know you own nothing. And I sat back and I thought about it. I'm like, he's right. He's like, the houses that we have, the apartments that we have, we don't really own them. If we can't pay the taxes, what happens? You get a lien on the properties and they get taken over by the state. You don't really own your car because you have to register the car. If you can't register the car every year, you lose the car. Really, nothing that you have is you own. So think about that. And the one thing that you actually do own, you know what I'm going to say here, would be Bitcoin. And it's a pretty great asset. And I think Michael Saylor kind of cracked it and really is running with it. So when we take a look at like the different assets that we have and people say, you know, I just don't get Bitcoin. You can try to explain it to them. They're going to say, I'm telling you, it's going to be pretty big. But if you don't understand it, here's a little refresher. Just try to tell them a little bit. And if they don't get it, just move on. But it's true. All the things that we're doing, pay taxes like crazy, and we don't own anything. It's sad. It's sad. What? No, wash trading is not allowed in crypto. Is that true? Because if it's changed, I'd like to know. My question for iTRUST is that I see significant differences of the price in the exchange versus the price of execution at sign time. It's like they're adding another fee. Depends on where you're at. If you go to, I can almost guarantee that if you pick there's one thing that two exchanges can agree on. And that is that the third exchange is nowhere near the correct price of Bitcoin and other digital assets. So just remember that when you're looking at these different things across the board, that's pretty much, they're not going to line up perfectly, especially if you just go like, okay, Coinbase. And then at that exact second, at that exact time, it's very difficult. That's why I like Voyager. It would have been great if they just wouldn't have done that stupid $640 million uncollateralized loan. Rob, you see the new David Duchovny commercial for Flexa, AMP token. They're also doing a partnership with Coinbase Wallet. Discord's using Coinbase Wallet Regal. Great, I still own some of that. Let's see how it does. French Toast says, yeah, 30 days for the wash trading thing. All right. And ZCDC, with all the back ones we have, why the uncertainty in the market? Because the market is always spooked. And there are always people who think they can outsmart the market, which some can sometimes. And they like to sell. They like to protect their downside. Not so much the long term, and recollateralizing and diversification of portfolios and any other buzzword you can think of. And they sell. And then somebody sees the smart money selling and they go, oh, that guy's selling. I should probably sell myself. And then the other people say, wow, there's a lot of people selling. Maybe I should sell. Before you know it, off it goes. Then, of course, you got levered longs and levered shorts. And then people start losing money like crazy. And then the price goes down and people are like, wow, I should really sell. It's like it never stops. The only thing that really I can rely on is that just give me enough time, I'll do okay. If I try to do it quickly, I never really succeed. You may not be our dad, but you're our crypto uncle. That was nice. Thank you. Rob is the green screen. It could be. Tell her to jump in the pool. She wouldn't do it. It's the fridge that holds the beer. Yeah, the fridge that holds their beers, Biggie. That's right. Brian says, Rob, have you ever accidentally displayed something you shouldn't have on a live stream? What do you do? Just curious. I did that once on actually Ben's website when I first started to talk about it. And I was like, so I shouldn't have shown that specific chart. So when you go on a live stream on YouTube, you can go to edit. And you can edit your live streams without taking the whole thing down. You can cut out sections. And you can actually blur a section if you want to. I don't know if the blurring is still available, but I just cut it out. It takes like 15 minutes to an hour. So usually what you want to do if it's something you don't like, you got two options. You can take the whole thing down and just delete it, or you can cut it out. And then what I would probably do is make it private so no one sees it until the settings or the editing is complete. Yeah, be sure to fill out the safe harbor form. Some people say there's a form, but it's really just comes down to you stating or getting an email, or I got to get that email from CoinLedger where you're essentially saying, I'm going to do FIFO and I'm going to do the what is it called? the standardized. Where is it? Lowest cost, highest wallet balance versus highest cost, highest wallet balance. That's what we're looking for, which again, looks like this. You can find that in the settings on CoinLedger. All right. Oh yeah, Echo says Tezos did a lawsuit about staking rewards. I know the outcome. It's a good question. You know who we should ask? Perplexity. Tezos had a lawsuit regarding staking and taxation. What became of that? The lawsuit involving Josh and Jessica Jarrett against the IRS regarding taxation on staking rewards from the Tezos network has undergone significant developments. The company's legal battle began in 2021 when they sought to recover taxes paid on 8,800 Tezos tokens earned through staking in 2019. They argue that those tokens should not be taxed until sold, like on a new property, which is true. IRS, which is in current status. The lawsuit aims to contest, which requires the Jarrett's argue this room is inconsistent. Their case is being closely watched. Nothing else. Interesting. I don't think that you should be taxing those types of things. It's just like, it's essentially you have unrealized gains. Like when you get everything in, they're essentially saying like, look, we're going to tax you on that. So do you want to pay it or not? You don't have the money, you better sell it. So it's essentially sell pressure on the market. Not great. Hey, Pay. Hope you had a great time. Where dogs drive. Panda's here. Judy Dench. Judy Dench. Nah. Tangem. Write down the seed phrase or go with not knowing it. And what Judy's asking is because there's two ways to do Tangem. One way is you write down your mnemonic phrase, which is 12, 24 words. And then now they have an option where you can add a 25th word, which is called a passphrase, which I recommend you do. There's that side, or you can leave your private keys contained within the card itself. You know what I'm talking about? Watch that video underneath about Tangem. And I got to tell you, that's essentially your private keys, which are contained in that card. And people say, well, it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. I have those keys. I'll show you where it's at. It's right here under my card. And that's the whole cold storage device. And I got 3 of these things. So for some reason, again, if I leave this on the ground somewhere and people are like, oh, cool, I know what this is. This is a Tangem card. And they download the app, they still need my face. They still need my PIN. They're not going to get it. Let's say somebody steals my phone because the app's in there. I'm like, oh, I see he's got a Tangem app. Let me see if I can move things around. I can't because I need the card. Now, let's say they have my phone and they have my card because I was an idiot and I put them together. Well, they better have cut my head off too because I need my face to get into the app to actually move things around. So it's a pretty good thing. And then with this, you know, I don't have a risk of, like, again, this, if you leave your mnemonic phrase or anywhere around, people can find it. Inside jobs happen all the time. But with this, that doesn't happen. That's why I like that part. I know people would say, oh, that's not the way to do it. This is it. So far, it's worked out okay. Unless I get wrench attacked and they've shoved my face in my phone and they got the card and they're like, wow, nothing I can do about that. Hey, mad chatter. I don't report the change in my bank account each $3 or whatever to the same for staking companies. Yeah, exactly. I think the IRS is going out of control with this. And between us, I don't even know if this is actually going to make it. Remember, Trump gets into office. Inauguration day is January 20th. I don't know if this is going to go through. First of all, he wants to abolish the IRS, which I think would be awesome. But, you know, you got to play by the rules. And hopefully optimistic, cautiously optimistic. Meme asks, is it possible to add a seed phrase or the passphrase? Because there's always these different terms. Seed phrase, mnemonic phrase, I believe are the 24 words. And the passphrase is that 25th word. So let's just call the 25th word the 25th word. Is it possible to add a 25th word to a tangent wallet that comes without one? Yes, but you have to reset it. And to answer your question, if you did mean seed phrase and mnemonic phrase, is it possible to add a seed phrase or a mnemonic phrase to a tangent wallet that you set up automatically as like what I talked about, where you just have the private keys in the card itself? And for that, you have to reset everything. So to do that, so you can't have both, what I'm trying to say. So to do that, you'd have to move everything off your tangent and then say, I don't like this. I got one mnemonic phrase. That's how it has to go. But you could do it, but then you got to pass it back to some exchange or another cold storage wallet, which I got to tell you, that story from the beginning, the one where I talk about a lady that lost $3 million after working 26 years. I think it's time that if you look at your portfolio and you're like, wow, this portfolio, if I lose all this, this is everything. You need to stop being so cheap and you need to buy more cold storage wallets. Is it worth it to go, well, I saved 40 bucks, but I got this, a couple million bucks over here. So I'm going to save that 40 bucks. I'm telling you, get multiple cold storage devices, spread it out, and be careful as much as you can. No. Do you ever actually? You don't. There is a provision, though. If you are a veteran in Texas, it's different counties. I'm not sure if it's every single county. Only El Paso County it is. If you are a U.S. Army veteran or U.S. military service, you do not have to pay taxes on your home. I think it's past a certain age. Not bad. You can, word talkster. You can only own your crypto, but you can still pay taxes, go to prison. Yeah. Yeah. Slavery by taxation. They can't take away your Bitcoin. Exactly. And if they try, you can always say, man, I had this boating accident. It was really dangerous. It was crazy. Ledger just flew out of my hand. No. Mark Analyst says you don't really own Bitcoin. You own the right to be able to move Bitcoin around. So we'll say that. So who owns it then? If you don't have the ability to move it around, who then owns it? I will be taxed for selling my Bitcoin. That's true. If someone could sell Bitcoin to zero, you don't actually own it. I'll take all of your Bitcoin at zero. As a matter of fact, if you send me one Bitcoin, I'll send you two. You can trust me, bro. All right. Oh, Frank says, true, no Washington on crypto. Yeah, crypto ETFs are different. ETFs are regulated by the SEC. We're talking about crypto, real digital assets, not ETFs. Roz's wife is like, still doing your crypto 7.25. Listen, my wife so far has been the best trader out of all of us. For some reason, she like times the top perfectly. She gets to a certain point in her Coinbase wallet. She's like, oh, got to sell 25% because it hit this number again. And I'm like, you really shouldn't because it's going to go up and Bitcoin strategic reserve and blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, that's great. And I'm just going to sell that. And then she sells. A couple days later, drops. So here we go. Let's see. Clutch says, people are trying to realize they effed up voting for Trump. I think it's the other way around. I think people, first of all, this isn't a political channel, but I think nothing collapsed the day after. Politicians are still liars. And that's pretty much it. We'll see what he can do. I'm hoping for good things. Let's see. Thank you. I get Panda. I thought you guys said just send it to yourself and copy your account. Yeah, something like that. Really what it is, I mean, if you can do this in CoinLedger and line up all your different accounts, there should be timestamps or markers of when all these different actions are done. We can just say, this is what I want to do. This is the low cost, high wallet balance thing. David's not answering email, CoinLedger. Not surprised. I'm sure he's getting bombarded. That's why I want everybody to come here for the next video and just ask all his questions. Rekt Burgundy. Dude, Rekt Burgundy is hilarious. I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter. I put his X account underneath, and you can follow him. And then also, I hope they do more of those X spaces because it was funny to hear him talk. Any thoughts about the USDT news in Europe? Is this the one where they, because of the EU, they're going to ban the use of Tether? All right. So just another, unless there's something else. Is there something else going with Tether? Did we find out that there's no backing whatsoever? And did we just find out that they're printing it out of thin air, like the US dollar, like the euro, like the yen, like every other different currency out there? Or is there something else I'm missing? Just curious. Let's see. Tell iTRUST to decrease the 1% fee. You know, just like a year ago, it used to be 1% and a $29 monthly fee. So there's that. If we got rid of taxes, how will we pay for national defense, infrastructure, healthcare, and Social Security? Well, instead of just saying like you need to tax this and tax this and tax this in an IRS way, which I always think is a really stupid way to do things, why don't we just do like a flat tax on everything that we buy? And then that could be something like that. But then just to abolish the IRS. Now, taxes, essentially, you're always going to have some form of tax no matter what it actually is. So in that way, sure. A1, more optimism than me. Yeah, the MiCA rules in the EU. Yeah. They're going to ban Tether. That's okay. I wonder if you can still use USDC. Echo, I'd rather pay $30 a month. It was $30 a month plus the 1% fee. Julia says tariffs. That's how it was done for the income tax. That's up for the administration to figure out in Doge. Oh, sweet. Rob, are you going to watch Squid Games? Apparently there's a crypto scammer as one of the main characters. I think everybody will be cheering for that guy to be dead. Please ask iTRUST to allow us to send crypto directly into our account. I don't think that's how it works as far as like legally. So I can ask. Sales tax 50% still less than I'm paying other taxes. Yeah, there you go. And that means that everybody has to pay taxes. Doesn't mean like, you know, like the different loopholes that some of us are privy to. Now you're just paying tax on everything that you buy. But the big thing is you pay taxes on one time. That'd be great. If you are gifted crypto that's from a different country, I assume you don't owe that country tax on it since you don't reside there, correct? Actually, up to a certain amount, and I want to say 10,000, you can gift to anybody you want to, and it's non-taxable. But there's a limit to the amount of what you gift to somebody. You can't just go, hey, there's 10,000 here, 10,000 there, 10,000 there, no taxes. It's like a max amount. And that's in the United States. I don't know what it is in Canada or Mexico or Europe. I have no idea. Oof. My relative's niece said she pays 50% taxes on what she earns in Copenhagen. Wow. That sucks. That's pretty bad. Daniel says the best solution for us is closing the IRS and the Federal Reserve. What do you think? Federal Reserve seems to be like the greatest manipulator of markets of all time. So to see them go, I wouldn't. Just let the free markets roll and see what happens. As far as the IRS is a funny thing. It's like everybody works here. Maybe you have a 9-to-5 job, 5 days a week, and they give you, and they know how much you were actually paid. So it's like, well, if you know how much I was paid, because the company has to send that form in, 1040 or whatever, I forgot what it was, then why is it that I have to tell you again how much I made and how much I paid in taxes? Because you already know it. Maybe it's all because of the deductions, which seem to be getting less and less every year. She said she gets free healthcare and other perks you don't get here. That sounds good. Healthcare is great. I've never seen this stream before. Does anyone know what happens to people with coins pegged to Tether on an exchange? I don't know about this one. Pegged to Tether on an exchange like KuCoin. I mean, essentially, if it's Tether, you're looking at the dollar as it's one for, well, it's a dollar for whatever else it is, if that's what it's denominated into. So if it's like, well, let's just take a look here. If we're talking about Tether, now it does fluctuate just like the strength of the Dixie or the dollar, but it should stay pegged to around 1. So let's see, markets, KuCoin. 3,000. Wish they had like a search function on this one. It'd be nice. KuCoin. So like Bitcoin USDT. So what it'll be is, I guess the question I think is being asked here is, well, if they do away with Tether on KuCoin, what happens then? So I don't know what is accepted at KuCoin, if it's just USDT or if they have other types of stables. Let's take a look. Do they have USDC? They have Bitcoin USDC, which is essentially the same thing. Do they just have the dollar or the euro? Yeah. Now back to USDT. But essentially what it comes down to is if they don't have Tether, then what they're going to have to do is give you time to transfer your Tether into something else or get it off their exchange if they're not going to be allowed to do that for residents of EU, which is a shame. It's because of these MiCA laws. David asks, if you haven't cashed out, do you pay taxes? Not yet, unless Janet Yellen gets her way. No, you don't. It's not a taxable event if you don't cash out. However, there is one provision here. If you take, say, from one crypto to another, let's say that you buy Bitcoin at 100,000. And then it goes up to 108,000. And then you take that 108,000, you transfer it all into Ethereum. That's a taxable event. So in there, you have to pay taxes on that, even though you didn't really cash out. Sad, I know. Yeah, that's right. Panda Pie. Do Kwon is going to be extradited to the U.S. from Montenegro. I just heard that myself. Couldn't happen to a better person. I don't know. I don't really know how guilty Do Kwon is and what he did. And people say, well, you know, everything's... Look, it wasn't like he was Alex Mashinsky, which knew exactly what was going on as far as a Ponzi scheme. I don't know how much he actually knew or how much was just bad business practices and getting over his skis. I have no idea. But Yeah, he ran away with it. Sam Bankman-Fried, pretty much the same thing. We're going to find out when he gets extradited and stands trial. Let's see. It's true. All right. Well, guys, I think that's it. We're coming up on 50 minutes. So look, like today's video, subscribe, comments, all that good stuff. But that is it for today. Again, we'll do another video on taxes before the 31st. That's it for this one. So thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of your day.